Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone, distinguished speakers, judges, guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Huawei's Tech4City Competition Finals 2022. My name is Leanne Robes. I am the co-founder of She Loves Tech, and I will be your MC today. It's so exciting that this is the first ever Huawei Tech4City event globally, and we're doing it here in Singapore. So you are part of the first ever Tech4City competition finals there is. Technology is ever-changing, and She Loves Tech, the company that I co-founded, has now grown to become the world's largest startup competition and accelerator program around the world for women and technology. We operate in 72 countries around the world and have had more than 10,000 startups join She Loves Tech. As such, I see innovations and technologies day in, day out. One of the things that really excites me is how we're using technology to transform our lives for the better. So very shortly, I will be introducing 9 different teams of youths who are building solutions and creating technologies to do just that. And it's so exciting that Huawei Singapore cares about this. Huawei launched in Singapore in 2001, so it's been 21 years. And it's very exciting that they're partnering with different organizations to figure out how to digitally transform businesses and revolutionize the way that we live, play, and work. So what is Tech4City? Let me start out by telling you a little bit more. So Tech4City started out in May earlier this year, and it is an ideation competition to empower youths aged 18 to 35 to build creative and innovative solutions using digital technology to be able to create a more sustainable and livable Singapore. There are 3 themes as part of the Tech4City competition. The first is nature. How can we harness technology and contribute to a greener future for Singapore? The next is culture. How are we using technology to integrate uniquely Singapore cultural elements, bringing historical sites and also folk traditions to life, promoting a very vibrant city to the rest of the world? And lastly, it is neighbor. How are we leveraging technology to connect different groups of people and make life more convenient and more inclusive? And this is something that She Loves Tech, we care very much about. And we are so happy that Huawei has selected these 3 themes that are important in making our lives better. Before we introduce the 9 teams that will be presenting today, I want to bring you through what will be happening. So we will be kicking it off by an opening remarks by Mr. Jun Zhang, Vice President of Huawei Asia Pacific, followed by our partner speech by Ms. Tin Pei Ling. She's the CEO of Business China and a Member of Parliament Singapore. And then what we are all here for, the 9 different teams pitching, joined by our amazing judges, 7 judges that I will be introducing a little bit later to you. And while the judges are deliberating, we will be having our guest of honor, Ms. Lo Yanling, Minister of State of the Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth, and Ministry of Trade and Industry, to be able to give us our keynote speech for today. And then the awards. We will be announcing our 3rd place, 2nd place, and 1st place winners of the day. ending by closing remarks by Mr. Fu Fangyong, the CEO of Huawei International. So it brings me great pleasure to introduce to you today Mr. Jun Zhang, the Vice President of Huawei Asia Pacific, to open us up with a couple of words. Join me in welcoming Mr. Jun Zhang.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Tian Peiling, our very beautiful lady and the CEO of Business China. Distinguished guests, and also our Huawei Tech4City competition finalists and friends. Thank you for joining us at the inaugural Huawei Tech4City competition finals. I see a lot of guests, friends, and also students here. I'm so happy that you are here with us. Thank you for coming. It is the first year that we are running this competition, and I'm thrilled to share that we attracted 368 participants from local universities, polytechnics, and working adults, forming 141 teams, tackling Singapore-centric issues that they identified. Maybe some of you know that Huawei was founded in 1987, and Singapore was one of the first batches of country we entered. So we entered into this market in 2001. We're always looking for ways to engage the local community better, and one way is to, through such ideation competition, we can harness the ideas of use for potential implementation in local community. This year, the team came up with an idea to solve a problem in the themes of nature, culture, and the neighbor, and put together the proposed plan to build a more sustainable Singapore. I'd like to share a bit of Huawei's effort in sustainability. In the areas of renewable energy, Huawei has been leveraging its extensive experience in power electronics and energy storage, as well as technical expertise in 5G, cloud, and other innovative technologies to develop its digital power business and provide digital power solutions for different industries. In Singapore, for example, Huawei has supported the Sunsip Group, a solar energy power provider, to build one of the world's largest offshore floating photovoltaic farms. We also believe that no one should be left behind in the digital world. So we developed Tech4All, a long-term digital inclusion initiative for using technologies, applications, and skills to empower people and organizations everywhere. By the end of 2021, we have used digital technology to roll out our education programs, including DigiTruck and DigiSchool in more than 400 schools, driving equality and quality in education. Over the past year, we have helped 32 protected areas in 25 countries protect biodiversity more efficiently, including some countries in Asia Pacific. Such meaningful partnership and ideas are seeded by people who believe in the cause, and we hope to cultivate youth to take the lead. Huawei believes that young people have and will continue to play an important role in the region's and the world's economic development. To the end, as part of our 5-year talent plan starting from 2021, we are committed to cultivating 500,000 talents through talent development initiatives, including Cities for the Future, ASEAN Academy and also ICT Academy in universities. We have this plan to be carried out by 2026. We are also excited to see that for this year's Seeds for the Future Asia Pacific, which was hosted in Thailand and also Singapore, the team Huat Xiu from Singapore won the grand prize with their Tech for Good idea aimed to discover daily reduced to clear food promotion while fighting food waste in Singapore. Today, our finalists at the Tech4City competition are also eligible to participate in next year's Seeds for the Future globally. Hopefully, by then, we can see our seeds can go to China for a 2-week immersion program, like how we used to do before the pandemic. I should keep my speech short, as I know we are all excited to hear from our top teams and their pitch for innovative solutions to build a more sustainable and livable Singapore based on digital technologies. Our team had a very difficult task in shortlisting the top 10 teams, as we received many brilliant proposals. And you should all be very proud of yourself to be a finalist at this competition. So please give yourself a round of applause. I'm proud of you. You also should be proud of yourself. Lastly, we could not have done this without our Tech4City community, including our advisory council members who are here in person or online as judges. Thank you. Our mentors who have dedicated themselves coaching our final teams over the past 2 weeks. Our past speakers who have inspired our participants with their sharings in previous sessions. And also our partners, Business China, Nanyang Technological University of Singapore, National University of Singapore Business School, NUS Enterprise, SMU College of Integrative Studies, Singapore University of Technology and Design, who have worked hand in hand with us all along this journey. Special shout out to SMU for sponsoring this wonderful venue for our finals today. As the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. I would add that it takes an entire community to shape good habits and push for change. Hope all of you will enjoy the session today, and I'm looking forward to our future partnerships all together. Good luck to all of you. Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chen Zhao. And also, he is so right. It does take a village to be able, it does take a huge community to be able to move the needle. And what a commitment, 500,000 talents. That is a really great commitment. Wonderful. So now, please join me to welcome our Member of Parliament and also the CEO of Business China, Ms. Tin Pei Ling, to give our partner speech.
Mr. Jun Zhang, Zhang Zhenjun 先生, Vice President of Huawei Asia Pacific, Mr. Fu Fangyong, CEO of Huawei International, Mr. George Yeo, Mr. Robert Yap, Mr. Edward Tay, Professor Kuting Chai, Ms. Christina Lee, distinguished guests, finalists, friends, a very good afternoon. I am pleased to join all of you at the Huawei Tech4City competition finals. It's been an intense 4 months of coaching and selection, and here we are, the top 10 finalists have emerged. A competition usually has a winner, but honestly, to reach the finals, all of you are winners in your own right. So an advance congratulations to all of you present. 今天的青年都是强者，而强者竞赛当中虽然还是得分胜负，但是 虽然胜的我们当然是要去表扬他们，但是即便是败了的，也是虽败犹荣。所以在此呢，要预先祝贺参赛的青年们，希望你们接着下来顺利成功。In this competition, you have focused your energy and creativity to identifying problem statements and crafting solutions to address some of the real challenges that our community, our city, our society faces today. Such efforts must continue if we are to continue advancing our community, society, and the world we live in. Technology advancement is a key driver of economic growth and critical to improving lives. We have heard so much about the term disruptions, which often forces us to rethink the things and life as we know it, and forces us out of our comfort zones. But this is important. In 1942, economist Joseph Schumpeter coined the term creative destruction. He suggested that business cycles operate under long waves of innovation. And as markets get disrupted by innovation, major clusters of industries formed consequently will have outsized effects on the economy and, of course, on the lives of people. Hence, creative destruction plays a key role in entrepreneurship and economic development. Looking back into history, there have been 5 waves of innovation, broadly speaking. First, being the Industrial Revolution, in which water power was key to manufacturing paper, textiles, and iron goods. Full-size dams turned turbines through complex belt systems. Advances in textiles brought the first factory, and cities expanded around them. So it affected how we organize ourselves. Second came the rail, steam, and steel advancements. The rail industry, for example, affected industries pervasively, from iron to oil, and oil to steel and copper. Consequently, railway monopolies were formed. Third came electricity powering light, telephone communication, and internal combustion engines. During this time, as we know, Henry Ford introduced Model T and the assembly line, which revolutionized the auto industry. And about that time, the American metropolis expanded. Fourth, aviation gained mass adoption on a global scale, which then revolutionized travels and contributed to economic integration. Just think of how tough we all felt during the pandemic when we all had to be grounded, and you probably can appreciate how important this 4th wave of innovation was and how it had changed our lives totally. Fifth came the internet, and barriers to information vanished. Social media changed political discourse, news cycles, and communication, and the internet ushered in a new frontier of globalization. Digital information flows became borderless. Broadly, each wave took decades to happen, but the pace is accelerating. The first wave lasted 60 years, second about 55 years, then 50 years, 40 years, and for the 5th wave, some anticipated or expected that it should be 30 years. So technology and its advancement are important, and we must also quicken our pace to drive, if not catalyze, the 6th wave of innovation and beyond. As we stand at this important inflection in time, when we face intensifying climate challenges that affect the entire human race, it is all the more important that we continue to innovate and create technology that can literally save the world. And of course, in our context, how can we come up with innovative solutions that fit our urban environment? As youth, you are our hope for our collective future and agents of change. So, what can we do? According to the United Nations, there are 1.2 billion young people aged 15 to 24, accounting for 16% of the global population today. And increasingly, young people seek meaning in our careers, and for many, this means starting your own businesses. A survey by the World Economic Forum has also shown that over 26% of youth aged 15 to 35 years old in the ASEAN region wants to work for themselves and be an entrepreneur. The larger environment, including Singapore today, is also conducive. Technology startups are thriving, and according to the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, the total number of tech startups economy increased by up to 47% in the last decade. In Singapore, tech-enabled startups have been growing by 300% from 2014 to 2019, a very significant growth from 1,000 in 2014 to 4,000 in 2019. Of course, in absolute number, we are small as a fraction of the entire world, or even in China, for example, but as a percentage, if we look at the rate, it's phenomenal. We are, of course, familiar with the many success stories of renowned technopreneurs who started their businesses as youth. We know of Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg. But local entrepreneurs too. For those who are a bit more mature, you will know of the creative founder, Sim Wong-hoo. He was 26 years old back then when he did it. And then, of course, in more recent times, we have Suri Kwek from Carousel and Arif from Chope, just to mention a few. There are many more young budding technopreneurs who are working hard to fulfill dreams and to do good for Singapore and the world. Some examples are the young speakers from the series of Tech4City community events. I understand that we have Royston Liu, founder of Ample Fresh, whose agri-tech company champions the next generation of farming without using land during the pandemic, especially important in an urban environment like Singapore. The company aims to meet Singapore's food needs through tech-enabled war farming and establish itself as a global pioneer in autonomous urban farming. We also have Mark Yap, art director from Dark Meta, who intertwines technology and culture in his design of the Chinese Zodiac NFTs collection, using it as a medium to connect and educate communities, bringing audience closer to culture by increasing cultural awareness and engagement amongst individuals. Both Royston and Mark are only in their 20s. They're excellent demonstrations of how aspiring youths embrace digitalization in innovations and create business opportunities alongside impacting the society and economy in a meaningful way. We all hope to discover and nurture more of such talented youth who can grow to become a positive force for development when provided with knowledge and opportunities. Such talent cultivation is inseparable from the close collaboration among sectors such as the IHLs, the Institutes of Higher Learning, government agencies, corporates, communities, and also nonprofits like us in Business China. I think earlier Zhang Zong shared about how it takes a village to raise a child, right? So it's the same concept. So platforms like the Huawei Tech4City provide a good opportunity for aspiring youths to come together and play a role to build a sustainable and livable Singapore. In fact, over the years, Huawei has dedicated its social efforts to the development of a sustainable socio-economy and to build a better connected world for everyone. Hence, Business China is pleased to collaborate with Huawei on creating more opportunities and exchanges for our youths and business communities. As a supporting partner of Huawei's Tech4City competition, Business China is also pleased to work with the Institutes of Higher Learning and also Huawei definitely to bring awareness, to heighten awareness of sustainability and social digital innovation to our youth. Huawei has been a valued partner of Business China. In fact, in August just this year, with Huawei Singapore support, we organized a youth masterclass as part of the Singapore Digital Economy Forum, whereby 30 young people visited the Huawei AI Lab to hear experts share their revolutionary applications of Web 3.0. And in our upcoming Future China Global Forum on 7th of October, we will work hand in hand once again to discuss more trends and solutions for achieving sustainability. With this, I want to thank Huawei for the invaluable support and collaboration, and also take this chance to wish all our young participants today a memorable afternoon that shall long remain in your minds for its creative presentations. And I wish you success in everything you do, and of course in your endeavors ahead. Once again, all the best and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tim Pei-Ling, for a wonderful speech and for such an important reminder that we need to be able to nurture our next generation and provide them with the tools and resources for them to succeed and build innovative and sustainable technologies to drive our future. So thank you very much, Ms. Tim Pei-Ling. Okay, so now is what we are all here for, to hear our 9 wonderful teams pitch their solutions and innovations. Before that, I would like to introduce you to our 7 wonderful judges. First up, we have Mr. Giorgio, former Foreign Minister of Singapore. Please, Mr. Giorgio, make your way to the front, please. Thank you, Mr. Yeo. We also have Prof. Koo Teng Chai, the practice professor for College of Design and Engineering from NUS. Thank you so much for joining us, Prof. Koo. Next up, we have Mr. Robert Yap, who is the chairman and the advisory board and non-executive director of EDP, our Sunseap Asia Pacific. Thank you so much, Mr. Yap. Next up, we have Mr. Edward Tay, the CEO of Sistema Asia Capital. And last but not least, joining us physically here today, we have Ms. Christina Lee, the founder and CEO of Global Green Connect and a very dear friend of mine. And we have 2 judges joining us online, so let's get them online. Hi! So we have Mr. Gavin Allen, the Executive Editor-in-Chief of Huawei. Hi, Gavin. Joined by Ms. Catherine Du, the Director, Digital Inclusion Program Office for Tech4All at Huawei. Thank you so much to our wonderful judges for joining us today. So let's start our pitches. The first team that I want to introduce you to is Team Mango. Their theme is on neighbor. Mango is a mobile assistive navigation for guiding older commuters powered by augmented reality. I got a little bit of a chance to talk to them just before, and I am so impressed. I'm so excited to hear about their solution. So let's welcome Team Mango.
Sorry, we need a clicker. Okay, hi everyone. Meet Madam Tay, a 73-year-old senior with mild dementia. She lives alone, but she still wants to be independent. So on this day, Madam Tay finds herself at Woodlands Integrated Transport Hub, or Woodlands ITH for short. She wants to find bus 962 to meet up with her friends. However, she's faced with a sea of information from the overhead signage, and along with the bustling crowd, Madam Tay starts to feel very overwhelmed. I can't do this myself. I should have stayed at home. At this point, Madam Tay is ready to give up on her independent journey to visit her friends.
Now, Madam Tay is not alone. Getting lost within the Singapore public transportation system is not a new problem. Since 2018, more than 300 seniors with dementia has gotten lost while using the public transport. With the numbers of seniors with dementia expected to rise in Singapore over the next few years, these numbers of seniors getting lost will only increase. And so as a team, we went out to the community and spoke to seniors like Madam Tay. And from this, what we found was we identified 2 pain points that seniors generally experience while using public transport. Firstly, there seem to be no obvious underground landmarks, especially along connecting corridors and long exits, where it can be quite disorientating for seniors like Madam Tay. And secondly, there seem to be a huge amount of numbers and words on signages, which can be quite overwhelming, and most of them are in English. And so as a team, what we did, we came back and asked ourselves, how might we develop an assistive digital experience to allow seniors with reduced cognitive ability to successfully navigate public transportation independently? And so using an inclusive co-design process, we have developed Mango at ITH. It is a mobile assistive navigation for guiding older commuters using real-time interaction powered by augmented reality. So Mango here is deployed through a mobile phone app, and it is able to continuously guide users through an ITH using a customizable AR companion. And while guiding users, Mango is able to provide personalized route recommendation based on the user's own profile. And because we have developed something like this for seniors, Mango is user-friendly and intuitive, so users are able to select multiple language preferences as well as the option for audio or visual communication. And also because we want seniors to be safe while using Mango, we have several safety built-in features. So seniors are able to share their journey with others, as well as there's instant redirection if they're walking along the wrong path. So the technology itself harnesses a two-way interaction between the Mango app and the Huawei cloud. So for us to be able to locate users precisely, Mango uses a combination of Bluetooth beacons as well as image recognition. So that means within the cloud itself, images are recognized by the Huawei machine learning kit, which then feeds back the personalized route recommendation back to the users.
So let's go back to Madam Tay's journey and see how Mango would change her experience. This time, Madam Tay remembers the app that her friend had introduced to her. You don't need to be afraid of getting lost if you have Mango. So taking out her phone, Madam Tay opens the Mango app. Yes, I need directions, she thinks, and clicks on that button. As she's taking a bus, she clicks on bus. As she knows that the bus is 962, she clicks on 962. Yes, Mango, show me the way. So seeing that Mango is walking off towards the right, along with the helpful arrow, Madam Tay turns rightwards. Thus reassured that she's facing the right direction, Madam Tay clicks on yes and goes forth. So after walking straight over it for a bit, Madam Tay's phone suddenly buzzes. Madam Tay had accidentally walked past the lift, but thanks to Mango, she's able to find the lift again and head to the bus interchange. Once back on track, Mango informs Madam Tay to head to berth B6. When she reaches, her phone buzzes once again. She made it. Thanks to Mango, Madam Tay is no longer afraid of making mistakes and is now confident to take public transportation independently. So Mango will first be piloted at Woodlands ITH. Subsequently, it will be rolled out across more public spaces, with the end goal of establishing Mango at SG. Singapore's public transport system is vital for connecting people and places. With Mango, we hope to be able to connect seniors with the community, and through co-design development, ensure that no one is left behind in this digital world. So this is our team. We are from NUS. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Team Mango. I'm now going to pass the time over to the judges for 3 minutes Q&A. Judges, please remember, we only have 3 minutes. Please keep your questions short. Who would like to start? Okay, Christina.
Hi, wonderful presentation. It's really cool idea, but my question is, have you tested out on any elderly who got dementia?
Hi, so we actually haven't tested it out on elderly yet, but we have co-designed the entire interface with elderly with dementia. So we've used an inclusive co-design process where we have talked to them, found their pain points, and then also we do work with technologies with seniors more in the digital health space. So we have we've spoken to probably over hundreds of seniors to see what kind of features in apps and what kind of features on interfaces are good and useful for them. So we haven't tested it yet, but that's what we hope to do in our pilot stage at Women's ITH.
Very good. I may have a second, very silly questions. Like if they have dementia, if they don't even remember, so you pull out the phone, how are you going to go about it?
Yeah, this is actually one of the things we did consider. So we did design this with seniors with mild to moderate dementia. We do acknowledge maybe late stage dementia patients. It's not going to be suitable for, they might not even bring their phone out. There are different, there's a different app, and there's different wayfinding, not technologies, but situations inside MRTs that you can be guiding them now. So those will be more useful for them. But for the mild to moderate, I think this is still a good use case. and it'll allow them to remain independent longer than they would without it.
I got lost trying to find my way here.
Yes.
I think you need mango at SMU.
Yes, and City Hall.
I think we all kind of also got lost at the MRT station getting here.
Yeah, I do have a question as well. Have you thought of, incorporating maybe like a chatbot in there that in case they, I mean, this is mild to moderate dementia, right? And they need help in terms of just reaching out to someone or something to get some response in there. Did you think that this was something you want to incorporate in here to just kind of like jazz up in terms of the innovation part of it, as well as also to incorporate a little more intelligence into your application? Maybe a response from you all.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, what we initially thought was we could partner with already existing initiatives. So currently at SMRTs, you may notice the little giraffes all around. Those are dementia go-to points. And so one of the things we thought about was if we could connect with that kind of thing where if they need someone there, actually a manpower to help them, there should be a link where they are able to access help that way. So that's one of the things we thought about. In terms of chatbot, it may be a bit complicated because we want to try to make it intuitive for them. They don't have to text or anything like that. So maybe connecting to already existing initiatives where they can actually get direct help, and staff are already trained to identify seniors with dementia and what to do with them. So something like that would be more useful for them. So that's something we hope to actually incorporate as well.
Thanks for that. Maybe just one last comment. Maybe speech recognition could also help.
Yeah. That's a very good consider. We will consider it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Team Mango.
Thank you, guys.
It's not easy getting up on stage, and I know from talking to them, they all were in research. So they said that actually through this program, they learned the skill sets to stand up on stage and to sell their product. Next up, we have Team SBay. Team SBay leverages on AI to detect and remove contamination from recyclables and recycle the remaining leftovers. Let's invite Team SBay.
Oh, okay. Judges, my name is Junxing, and we have a waste problem. See, Singapore is running out of space to throw its trash. And this is because of the amount of waste we generate and the fact that we are not very good at recycling them. In fact, domestic recycling is at an abysmal rate of 13%. Why? Because in trying to encourage recycling, we made the process too simple. So much so that recycling bins are now flooded with things that do not belong there in the first place. Imagine this pencil box. This is not recyclable, but if this gets out in the way with recyclable plastics, it's going to lower the batch purity of the plastic pellets that's outputted by the system. And at that point, companies would choose to landfill it rather than to clean it because it's simply cheaper. So what do we have? Workers having to manually sort out the contaminants by hand to avoid further damage. This is fine, except we consider the fact that 60% of thrown recyclables are actually contaminants, which is why I'm proud to introduce Gulp AI, a new way to sort solutions using AI and a bit of Huawei's help. We have 3 goals: to automate the process, to make it faster, and to help increase the resale value of the recyclable waste. We'll first start off with waste in a landfill, right? And it gets sent to the facility. The first thing that needs to do is for a model to take images of the waste and for it to detect if there's any contaminants, right? Upon so, it's going to instruct the array of air jets underneath the next conveyor belt for it to blast air at the target waste for it to be suctioned off into a new stream. One innovative feature of our system is how we design the airlift mechanisms. Only cells corresponding to the waste coordinators will be activated to blast air. And this is only made possible by the predictive capabilities of our AI, allowing us to be even more energy efficient. A similar setup applies to categorizing waste. In the next example, let's try to sort plastics and recyclable plastic and contaminants. Note in this example how the AI only targets the plastic when it reaches the plastic suction funnel, and how the AI only targets the contaminated waste when the contaminants reach the contaminants funnel. This design is vastly unique from our competitors that relies on robotic arms to do the lifting for them. Comparatively, we require less capital because there's less hardware involved. We are quicker to deploy because we leverage on proven technologies creatively, and require less maintenance because there's simply less mobile parts in the system. Over the past 2 weeks, we have created a prototype for the identification using TensorFlow. And we have managed to identify cardboard contamination for now. With just 100 data images, we managed to achieve an accuracy of 82%. And as we train the model with more and more data inputs, we are looking to bump that percentage up to the high 90%. But none of this matters if there is not a viable business model. According to US competitor AMP Robotics, AI sortings, their AI system, has led to an increase in double, if not triple, of the resale value of the recycled goods. And they are not alone. According to Retree, a sorting startup based in the UK, their AI technology has led to a 99% purity in their output. But what about Singapore? And does this matter now? With China no longer buying our waste, demand for waste technologies is skyrocketing. Recently, the NEA has announced extended producer responsibility for e-waste, which states that manufacturers like Sony are now responsible for the products when they reach end of life, responsible in terms of collection and treatment. And the same framework is to be rolled out for packaging waste no later by 2025. Not to mention, Singapore is also looking to sell its very first plastic recycling plant with the launch of the Plastic Recycling Association of Singapore last year, which to us signals demand and use cases. The fact is, as exciting as this space sounds, we are really running out of time. We live in an era where consumerism is the new nationalism and resource conservation is nothing but an afterthought. This should not be the case, and our presentation, Hope Today, has shed light on an unseen problem. Our team, allow me to introduce our team. We all met actually while working in Silicon Valley. For myself, I've been dealing with power supplies for satellites. We have Ray Fang, who's with us virtually, who's working on growth strategies for 5 different companies. Jed, he's experienced scaling machine learning solutions for EdTech. And Jane, who has been working in the VC industry at the heart of Silicon Valley. Thank you very much, and that will be it. We'll now take questions.
Thank you, Espei. I would invite the rest of the team to join him on stage. To the judges, maybe we can also have our 2 judges who are online. Okay, maybe we can start with our judges online.
Yeah, sure. So, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, this is Catherine. I'm from Huawei Tech4 office. So my question is what is your biggest challenges from the perspective of technology while you're developing the solution? Biggest challenge, yeah.
I think honestly speaking, the biggest challenge will be domain knowledge in a niche industry. When you are seeing competitors like robotics, there are more competitors in the robotics space because it's simply a sexist space, right? And applications are a little bit more generalized. But what we are trying to do is to build an industry-specific application that is using air separators. And this is something that's only quite unique to the in more industrialized processes. So, and for us, we don't necessarily have that image, and we recognize that as a technical difficulty that we have to overcome.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Any other judges have questions for Espei?
So have you developed prototypes?
Yes, we have managed to develop only the identification part. So we haven't do the sorting, the shoot air part yet, but the detection is there.
What does that mean? It means that you show something and the AI can identify it?
Yes, you're on point.
But isn't that still quite a long way to go to what you're trying to achieve?
Well, big things takes time.
But if the bits and pieces are all mixed up together, how good is your system in distinguishing them?
So I think you rightfully pointed that out. And if you look at the images I've shown, the things are mixed up. But that's because the existing implementations have slowed down the conveyor belt enough to mix it up, right? Similarly, if you look at some of the images from robotics, which is a bit hard to scale, there is a it's quite common to have waste being separated out distinctively. That is not part of what makes this technology implementation difficult. It can be done.
I was going to basically raise the same point, because I'm a technologist as well.
Yeah.
So in the way that you actually look at your vision analytics in there, right? To me, that's going to be a challenge, largely because everything is actually going to be mixed up in a whole bundle, basically, of garbage, right?
Yep.
So you basically have vision technology that actually does the post-processing and pre-processing in terms of the visuals that goes into it, the analytics that goes on behind it, and then the machine learning and AI that actually then takes over, right? How do you resolve that?
So
maybe I'll take that question. So we do have a go-to-market strategy in mind, and the ultimate goal is to instruct the air drum separators with the computer vision model and eventually automate the entire process. But the go-to-market strategy for now is to first deploy that computer vision model to identify the different types of materials and the waste, and we will be first just deploying just a model to feed our AI model with more data sets and more inputs to improve the accuracy to the industry benchmark of 90%. And subsequently, we will be providing workers with a remote interface to identify the waste. So there's still some element of manual intervention there. We are not completely automating it right away. And based on the identification, the AI will then instruct the air drum separators the specific coordinates to sort these waste materials out. So it's an evolutionary process and milestone that we are working towards.
Okay, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much, Team Esping.
Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Team True Fill. Their theme is on nature. They do real-time optimization of air conditioning energy consumption using dynamic feedback from IoT sensors. Please join me to welcome Team True Fill.
Good afternoon, judges and distinguished guests. I'm Zijie.
I'm Renjie.
And together, we'll be bringing you through True Fill. So, I'm pretty sure this image on the screen isn't foreign to all of us, right? Exactly. The Singapore Green Plan 2030, a bold initiative to tackle climate change, which aims to see an 80% improvement in energy efficiency within buildings. Yet, as we dive into the energy realm, we realize that cooling buildings itself takes up 19% of Singapore's total energy consumption. And that's equivalent to more than 2 billion trees planted over a year. So, that's right, that's where our solution True Fill comes in. But before we get to that, we still have to understand the pain points of managing a single building as such from the perspective of a facilities manager.
So every day, the facilities manager, Stephen, has to manage many different air conditioning and control systems. So because these systems are from many manufacturers as shown, and they are decentralized, he has to travel to many places to control them from the single control interface. So he feels very tired. Also, he feels very frustrated because there are many building users that complain that it is very hot on a hot day. So, because he's very busy, so what do? He sets the temperature at a fixed comfortable level on a hot day. So, bring us to this. So, as with many buildings in Singapore, they are cooled 40% cooler than necessary. This is extremely wasteful. So, what can we do about this? Introducing to you our solution, True Fill. It is an optimization algorithm that sits at the top of the tech stack. So with our solution, True Fill, facilities managers will not be required to manually adjust the air conditioning systems. So our algorithm will automatically adjust the air conditioning temperature for them based on sensor data within the room. Our solution, TrueFuel, will allow building owners to experience at least 15% energy savings. We provide a single interface for data analytics and also provide facilities managers with bidirectional control from a single location. So this makes it very easy for them to control all the systems within the building. Next, I'll talk about our competitive edge. So firstly, we have the first of its kind, psychometric-based algorithm. So you might ask, what does this algorithm do? So based on the sensor data within the room, it will decide what is the best possible temperature for that room. Next, since our TrueFuel algorithm is sitting at the top of our tech stack, it will allow us to very easily and horizontally integrate with all the systems within the building. For instance, cooling, lighting, water, and security. This is an overview of our solution. So you see the hardware is at the bottom. We have lighting, aircon, you have your IoT sensors, and you have your controls. They are connected to Huawei's cloud platform through wireless communication protocol. And you see we have our solution, TrueFuel, at the top of the tech stack.
And that's that. So how does Stephen actually benefit from TrueFuel? By subscribing to TrueFuel, will help to integrate TrueFuel with Stephen's existing air conditioning systems. Through this, Stephen will have access to all air conditioning systems within his buildings, all through a single panel. And not to mention, that single panel will also double up for analytics and visualization purposes, such as predictive maintenance and decision-making processes. Moving on, the current market for the FM solutions is actually valued at 1.3 billion, and there's still a stable growth of 5.2%. So for those who are searching for smart FM solutions, definitely they will love the competitive edge that TrueFuel provides. Currently, at the moment, our team has completed the planning and research stage, and which brings us to our agenda for today. Our idea is feasible, and it's grounded in research. We are hoping to bring TrueFuel forward to the development and trial stage, and as such, we would like to ask for partnership with Huawei to leverage on Huawei's cloud services. Next, we would like to partner with SMU to kickstart a pilot program. Yes.
Okay, time's up. You can complete your last sentence.
Okay. In total, we'd like all of you to support TrueFuel and bring it to reality to move forward as a sustainable movement. Yes.
Thank you so much. So judges, questions for Team TrueFuel? Yes, Prof. Koo.
I'm not very tech savvy, so can you please explain what is meant by top of the tech stack? And then the second question is, in what way is what you're proposing different from existing, building management systems?
You answer the first. Okay, so sorry, Prof. Sorry, what was the first question again?
What do you mean by top of the tech stack?
Oh, okay, yes. So what do we mean by top of the tech stack? It means that our tech is at the top, meaning that we can connect to all the different systems below and control them.
I think the main idea that we're trying to convey is that it sits at the cloud layer. So it's just an algorithm. The main IP that we're trying to sell is the algorithm that sits on top of this cloud layer that is able to, through this like cloud platform interface, through various, it doesn't matter what the hardware is below or what various wireless communication protocols that they're using below, right? Because every building in Singapore is different. Everyone uses different control systems. Even in one single building, there are multiple different control systems, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah. So the whole idea is that we want to develop this algorithm that sits on top of this tech stack, using this leveraging cloud to communicate with this various systems, regardless of what they are. So yeah, basically that's what we meant.
Yeah, Prof, for your second question regarding how is our solution different from other BMS systems? So basically, yes, as what Wei-Xuan mentioned, we are trying to sell the TrueFuel algorithm system. So the psychometric algorithm and also the TrueFuel control system, which is not seen in the market yet, that works with all different sensors. Yep.
I think Gavin has a question. Gavin?
Yeah, sure. Hi there. A very interesting presentation. You said that, I think the core statistics is that buildings are 40% cooler than necessary. Where is that stat from, and necessary for who? And if it is 40% cooler, why are building maintenance teams and companies so slow to correct that? Where is that 40% figure? What's it based on?
Okay, so thank you for the question. So this 40% figure is taken from the Channel News Asia, where they talk to, I believe it's aircon. Aircon is a company that deals with aircon, and they found that many building owners actually they just set it to this temperature that is very cold because they don't really have the resources to try to keep adjusting the temperatures over different time periods.
Yeah, to add on to this point, we also spoke with FM managers from SMU, making contact with them through the OCIS office of SMU. So one of the things that they mentioned, right, one interesting point they mentioned is that for the sake of simplicity, right, in Singapore, it is the local practice, right, regarding sustainable temperature setting to set the temperature at 24 to 25 degrees based on BCA's recommendations. However, right, it is found that that through literature, through study of literature, right, that a better approach to this, right, would be to set the temperature based on thermal comfort. So one of the ways to account for thermal comfort is through the study of psychrometry. So accounting things such as air volume, humidity, temperature that we can, all this data that we can gather from IoT sensors. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's all the time that we have. And because of our distinguished speakers and judges who need to leave on time, I'm so sorry that that is our time for today. Thank you so much, Team SmartF. Okay, Team TrueFill. And now we have Team SmartF. Their theme is also on nature. This is a smart floating farm that will achieve the goal of sustainable farming by incorporating Huawei technology. So this will be our last team before a short break. So let us invite Team SmartF.
Good afternoon all, especially our honorable guests. My name is Nurin representing SmartF, and with me I have Pei Jiang and Tia Ling. Here's the agenda for today. Being a small red dot, we have limited resources. More than 90% of our food is imported. This is a concern because any countries can stop importing. Hence, Singapore must have its own farming system. However, we have to play smart as we have a small land, and currently we only have 1% for agriculture. The most recent issue we found was Malaysia banned the exports of chicken to Singapore. How did it affect us? Well, there was an increase in the price of chicken, and businesses that rely heavily on Malaysian imports have to cease operations. Consumers are also forced to purchase frozen chicken or alternative meats. So what can we do about it? Let me introduce our idea, Smart Dual Farm. It is quite literal. We will farm fish and plants at the same time. It is a floating platform divided into sections. On the platform itself, there will be plants, cultivation, and harvesting corners. Monitoring stations and power units may be placed on the platforms as well. We propose farming oysters and seaweed. The reason being is that they can help to improve the water quality. Hence, the water will be a safe environment for fish farming. The cultivation corner is to have the fry there and before they are released into the underwater section, which is the fish section. There will be two types of nets. One is the base net, which will keep all the fish within the farm. The second net will have a bigger hose to harvest fish that are big enough for sale. The whole platform will be supported by bio rocks. If you look at the lobster section at the top, it is just one example of other aquatic animals that you can grow. We are different from existing fish farms as we make use of the space to grow plants that are beneficial for fish growth. So the purpose of the plants is not solely for sale. As for attachments, we will have sensors. One is sonar to detect fish quantity within the farm. There will also be solar panels and device for analytics. Now, you might wonder how Huawei can play a part. The sensors will be powered by Huawei Smart Solar PV solution. Compared to normal solar panels, Huawei Fusion Solar provides a reliable, sustainable, and optimized power supply of up to 30%. The data that we collect from sensors then will be uploaded via Huawei Model Arts. Then we will analyze them to customize the platform or improve the production process. The pros of using Huawei Model Arts is that it can reduce the cost of data labeling by training high-precision models using small volumes of data. It can lead to 80% of manual labeling works reduced. It can also significantly reduce training costs by employing pre-trained models to shorten the time required for deploying trained models from weeks to minutes. And the best part is that there is no dedicated programmers required. The possible location where we can build is the Southern Waters area. Today, most of the coastal fish farms are located near the Johor Straits. However, it is reaching its maximum capacity with 108 fish farms. It is reported that Singapore Food Agency is looking to explore Southern Waters to increase production. Now we can take this opportunity to implement our idea at the Southern Waters. Moving on, we expect the production cost to be $11,350 per 1,000 square feet. We should be able to produce at least half a ton of seaweed per month, giving us earnings of $7,000 per month. From seaweed production alone, it is estimated that we can reduce the import by 1%. Now, just imagine how much we can reduce with the rest of the produce within the platform. To end, the social values that our project addresses are environmental stability, economic stability, affordable food, food safety, and sustainable food supply. And that is all from SmartF. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Team SmartF. Shall we get our two judges who are online up? Okay, great. Judges, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks very much for the presentation. I have a fun question, right, and a difficult question. So the fun question is for the team. Among the 17 United Nations SDG goals, which one is your most favorite one? That's the fun question. The second question is, you talked about the data labeling cost reductions. Is there any way that you guys can actually quantify this? Thank you.
Sorry, could you repeat the first question again?
Among the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which one is your team favorite ones?
Our favorite one.
This is the SDGs, the UN SDGs.
It's okay, not a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't really, I think we need, we did not look into detail for that part, but our main goal is to support the idea of sustainable Singapore. And Singapore has limited land, but Singapore is not limited. You know what I mean? It's like we're actually building, with this initiation, we try to keep this digital technology opportunity to the farmer. I don't really know about detail of the SGD, so, but yeah. Thank you for the question. And the quantitation actually counted by our 1,000 square meters fee. So basically, we research a lot online data and how much we can produce within that kind of areas. It's only one platform. And imagine there's a 12 platform on our design. And it's modular system combined by each other. So it's making more stable. And then even supported by the bioworks. It's like we're building an ecosystem below. We do minimal impact to the environment. It's the concept of like try to remain the environment while we're farming below. I think this is the future for Singapore farming. Yeah, do I answer your question for the quantitative part? Because we actually counted by square feet. And because we are not expert in farmer and things like that, so we try to gather all the data online and combine it together. We do it in this way because the farm can be very flexible. It can be a smaller type of farm. It can be a bigger type of farm. Let's say we do a small type of farm, we can do it in different location. Yeah, that's the fun. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Is
maybe
there any other question?
one more question from the judges, either online or here.
No, I
Go
just
ahead.
have a comment. I think it's very commendable what you're trying to do. I really like your presentation. Of course, you have so much limited time in terms of presentation. I think one of the concepts that we want to work on is that, because I hope that you guys are going to be very successful, the next unicorn you're going to build, right? Is to actually look at some of the farms that's out there and how to basically kind of like layer on top the technology you're providing in here, so as to raise three things in there. Number one is productivity. Number two is actually the quality. And then the third one is actually supply chain as well. I think you've got the essence in terms of what you need to be successful in here. You just need to basically spend more time on it.
I believe we can also like partner with the existing fish farms and like implement our ideas. So you don't have to, so the production costs like can be lowered down, but also help to the fish farms to sustain themselves.
Yeah. Add on for one more thing is like we actually did research on the Johor East Strait area, and then there's a few accidents that happened before in 2015, and because of the water quality, a lot of fish die in that time, so we wasted a lot of fish by that time. So that's why we actually look into a lot of farm actually. Just that they separate into vegetable and fish area. So it's they separated. They didn't make use of the opportunity that different species can do their part in the environment. So that's why we integrate this idea in our design, in our proposal. Yeah, so we do concern about the water quality because there is an incident happened before. Yeah, but we do need to consider more about the engineering part. Yeah, thanks a lot.
When I start inching forward means that its time is up. Thank you so much, Team Smart F. It really does take a lot of courage to be able to stand on stage to pitch to everyone. So I commend everyone who has done so, and hearing all of these wonderful innovative solutions has been great. So we're going to take a 5-minute break before hearing from the rest of the 5 teams. So it is right now about 3:50, and I will call you back in about 5 minutes at 3:55. Enjoy your break. I know. It's always an exciting time for everybody to gather. And, you know, especially after the global pandemic, everybody wants to connect. But we're going to have a little bit more time right at the end. And also, we'll be having a second break after the 5 team presentations. So if I could ask everybody to just make their way to their seats so that we can start on the next presentation, please. Great. The most important thing is that we have our 7 judges seated, so I am going to start. Next up, we have Team Homeground Heroes with their theme on culture. This is a 2-sided marketplace centered on simplicity, accessibility, and utility. And it seeks to spark a cultural revaluation through turning regular citizens and merchants into everyday culturalists. So let's welcome Team Homeground Heroes.
According to the South China Morning Post, we millennials are the most nostalgic generation Singapore has ever seen. 69% of us attend arts and cultures events annually, 75% of us consume arts through digital media, and 82% of us believe that arts foster a greater sense of belonging. Yet, in 2020, the Straits Times listed artists as Singapore's most non-essential job. None of us on stage today ended up pursuing an arts degree. Why? I guess at the end of the day, we all still want healthy wallets. But what if culture and pragmatism need not be at odds with one another, but could instead add value to each other? We envision an online marketplace that combines the very best of a museum and maker's market, that is always open, filled with unique goods and services, and that is always accessible, fun, and social. Just like a trip to the mart. Introducing Mart, the arts market for the everyday culturist.
Mart is built from the ground up to encourage artists and artisans from all ages and industries to participate. From the up-and-coming bespoke tailor to your veteran jeweler and more common trades like cobbling. We believe that art is about personal stories. So, when our user first downloads the app, they are prompted to create a cultural profile. Using the power of Huawei's natural language processing, we are able to construct a unique cultural story that's unique to each and every user, thereby ushering them into our marketplace. How might one navigate our marketplace? Well, of course, with gentle nudges and curation. Artisanal goods are admittedly a fragmented market. And we can't just leave users to navigate this intimidating world all by themselves. So we lock our user interaction into a cloud-based signals marketplace that will allow us to deliver personalized content based on modern analytics. We also leverage on tags such as home renovation and wedding, which are common Singaporean milestones. We find our app especially useful for our heritage merchants who have been so instrumental in weaving our cultural past. And that's why we want our app to be a private-public partnership. Users can interact with the Singapore Memory Project that is seamlessly integrated into MART. There, they can access over 1 million memories by the National Heritage Board. 60% of Singapore's 20,000 heartland merchants have already gone digital with the help of Enterprise Singapore. But more can be done. So we believe that MART provides scale and a commercial edge that the government can't. Our live chat and review system equip our merchants with instant feedback about modern needs and gain access to a suite of value-adding services such as inventory management, as well as smart scheduling, freeing them up to do what they do best, creating culture.
So when we came today and told you that we're doing an arts and culture presentation, I'm willing to bet that this image was the last thing on your minds. You're probably thinking about Marina Bay Sands or some grand theater. That certainly is art, but we'd be letting our merchants down if we overlook them. It's an ugly truth and fact that we all know, that youngsters these days just want the shiny photo on Instagram, and they think that the sheen of art is all there is. We owe it to tailors who are weaving the fabric of our society to give them a fair chance. We believe that by leveraging the power of social commerce and the trust that Huawei has with particularly Chinese-speaking merchants, we're creating a future that we can all get behind. We've created an app with modern UI, with smart listings, accessibility features, and we've thought through the process of how to make sure all merchants from all walks of life are able to access the platform. We believe it is a canvas for a consumption that places emphasis on the people behind the product, rather than the hollow mass market consumption that we know today. And we believe that the possibilities are infinite. My name is Timothy.
I'm Yingxuan.
And I'm Hui Shi.
We all have our cultural stories, our own encounters with cultural merchants, as you see on the screen today, and we are the Homeground Heroes. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Homeground Heroes. On to our judges. Christina.
Thank you for the presentation. I always ask students when they come up with an app ideas. There are over 200,000 apps created and no one uses it. So how can you ensure the user will use this app and sustain, like with create the stickiness for them to stay on the app?
Yeah, so we've actually envisioned this. This is taken from a marketing class that I took in university, right? So initially, there are a lot of apps that people can consider. And we think and we hopefully hope that they would download this. They are then pulled in because we are using their interests and activities that are relevant to them. For instance, wedding planning or home renovation. And this includes millennials and slightly older millennials as well. This brings them into a loyalty loop. They enjoy the purchasing experience. They realize that consumption is not just about the product, but about the people behind them. And they learn that this is a really unique, cool thing, and we slowly build a community of users who add on and create value to each other, and we use the power of social commerce to keep people on our platform. The key unique factor of our platform is that there'll be merchants accessible here that they can't find anywhere else. We've been personally looking for these artisans ourselves, and we find that they're extremely hard to find because it is so fragmented. If we have a platform that has them all on it, they will definitely use. Now, we've also done a competitor landscape, right? We know that there are a lot of different apps out there that all serve different needs. There's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Snapchat, there's Carousel, and they're all trying to get here. All of them are slowly inching towards the new phenomenon that is social commerce. We start from there. We start the social commerce at the center. We create a social marketplace, one that emphasizes stories. And we inbuild AI in a smart and deft way to make sure that technology just operates behind the scenes and they can focus on what matters most. As a result, we think we found a blue ocean and we can stand out amidst the sea of apps that are out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just have a comment, and I think your platform is very touching. I think one of the things that maybe as an idea is that really your social commerce and your platform is actually a very powerful agent for inclusivity, right? And inclusivity here, I think, traditionally all the platforms you help here doesn't include people with special needs, people who are, from autism and all that, but really they are a very talented pool in there. I felt that maybe one of the things that can stand out as a differentiator that connects you basically to the social integration fabric is actually to just go down this path of looking at how to include individuals who are very talented, and yet society right now demarcates them basically as people of a lack of order, right? But actually, in truth, they are not. Largely because they are really talented in here, and maybe something that you can consider as well for people with special needs.
Yeah. So actually, in the app process, we spend a lot of time thinking about the common pain points that we can solve. So some applications are here, and we think the first place to start is by onboarding products like this. And here you see how we use the power of Huawei Lens, high lens recognition to help with the AI listing, because not everyone has thought the linguistic capabilities to sell themselves well, and that's why we've done that. But we've also done bigger landscaping, right? So we see that there are actually big problems that merchants face, and we want to solve them one by one. And we like to frame that what we have now on our app is just the start. And so here you can see that there's so many issues, and we want to create a platform that can solve them one by one, including those with special needs.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please join me to thank Team Homeground Heroes. I have just been told as well that our guest of honor, Ms. Lo Yenling, Minister of State, Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth, and Ministry of Trade and Industry, has just come in. So please join me to welcome MOS Lo. Thank you so much for joining us, MOS Lo. Next, I am going to introduce our sixth team, Team See Your Voice, with their theme on Neighbor. See Your Voice provides an AI-driven wearable sign language digitalization and translation system for the deaf. How exciting. Please join me to welcome Team See Your Voice.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are See Your Voice. We aim to build an inclusive and equal society with AI-driven accessible solutions. We provide a 24-hour sign language translator for Singapore deaf people to help them achieve a better quality of life. There are over 70 million deaf people over the world, but less than 20% of them can recover hearing with cochlear implants or hearing aids. In this case, millions of deaf people are facing communication barriers, but they are invisible in our community. Lots of people think that text or speech-to-text translation tools are sufficient for them to communicate. However, sign language is their mother tongue, and it's the most natural and efficient communication tool for them. But in our community, most people don't know sign language, and sign language interpreters are insufficient. What's worse, other mainstream solutions cannot satisfy the need of deaf. Therefore, our 24-hour AI sign language translator came into being. It translates sign language to speech and text, and it translates speech and text to sign language as well. In this case, both hearing people and deaf people can use the most comfortable method for them to communicate with each other. When deaf people communicate with hearing people, they just need to wear the glove and do sign language. Our smart glove will capture the sign language data, and our algorithm will translate it into corresponding speech and text. The translated result will be displayed on the application, and hearing people just need to read the text or hear the voice broadcast by the smartphone and will understand the meaning of the sign language. When hearing people speak, our application will collect the speech data, and our algorithm will translate it into corresponding sign language animation with text. And deaf people just need to watch the sign language animations with text and will understand the meaning of the speech. And our translator is based on 3 key technical pillars. First, leading deep learning pattern recognition and NLP algorithms. Second, our self-developed high-precision measurement sensors. Third, one of the largest sign language database. Because of these 3 key technical innovations, our translator can recognize over 1,000 sign language vocabularies with an accuracy of over 90%. And it can translate multiple sign language from different countries. Our solution has been applied to international events such as Microsoft Inclusion Conference and Paralympic Games. Our solution enabled our partners to make both online and offline solutions more inclusive. And now, we hope to be rooted in Singapore. And we are doing our best to contribute to Singapore Enabling Master Plan 2013. We have connected with SG Enable, UOB Singapore, SPD, and SMRT. And we hope to apply our solution to accessible news, TV programs, inclusive public transportation, and customer service in the bank. Now we are at an early stage, so we hope to collaborate with more companies and the government to construct information accessible infrastructures and benefit local deaf community. After the mass production of our product, deaf people only need to pay 10 Singapore dollars per month and they can use our solution. Therefore, more and more local deaf people can enjoy better communication. And we believe that our solution will benefit more and more deaf communities all over the world. And our team lays the foundation for our plan. 3 of us are NOS masters, and our algorithm lead is a PhD from Peking University. We are very grateful for the support from local startup community, deaf community, the government, and NOS. Also really appreciate Huawei providing us this opportunity. We will stick to the concept of tech for good, and we will do our best to enable millions of deaf people all over the world to communicate without borders and without barriers. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for such a meaningful presentation. To the judges, let's also invite Gavin and Catherine. Gavin and Catherine, maybe I start with you. Do you have any questions for Team See Your Voice?
Just a quick one. Just one question was about whether it's something that is tried and trusted, because you talked about, I think, Microsoft and Olympics, or whether it's something that's at the very early stages, which is what you also said. So is it something that's the technology, everything exists, you're just looking to scale up, or is it something that's still quite theoretical?
Now, our solution, we did some pilot use case, but we are keep improving our product because we always want to provide better experience for deaf people. And our smart glove, now you can see is our first prototype, and we applied our prototype in the Paralympic Games, and you can see our software. We applied that solution to the inclusion conference. Okay.
How did it perform?
Sorry, you mean, so maybe you want to hear more from the technical part or the application part?
I was just interested whether it performed well. You said it was tried out in these 2. Was it a massive success there, or did you learn a huge amount?
Okay.
Sorry, pardon. We didn't get your question.
Your meaning, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Now we already have the prototype that can translate more than 8,000 sign language because our database has 8,000 sign language gestures, and we want to improve it because we want to use English sign language, Chinese sign language, and other more and more sign language. Yeah, that means we need to develop more on our recognition algorithms and our hardware development. Yeah.
Firstly, I think it's very impressive what you have done in there. So my question is actually very simple, is you do it one direction in terms of sign to language. How difficult it is to actually go from language to sign? So if I speak in Mandarin or in English, right, can that translate into sign language for the deaf person?
Of course.
So it's reversible.
Yeah,
it's
reversible.
bidirectional.
So two-way interaction, actually. Yeah.
And I think Catherine had a question as well. Catherine?
So my question is, have you ever because you might know that there's also some quite similar kind of apps already in the market. So my question is, what is your differentiation, between the other apps, similar ones? Yeah.
And here you can see,
yeah.
We leave a table here. And the first thing, lots of apps you mentioned, they cannot provide sign language translation, which means they cannot translate sign language to speech and text. And that's one of our key innovation. And secondly, I think our accuracy will be better than them. And third, we can provide a very convenient tool for deaf people, especially when they need to interact with people in person. Now, sometimes when they are communicate with the non-deaf people, if they just use an app, sometimes it's a little bit weird. It's one of the feedback from our interview. So they hope us to provide this solution. And so all in all, we think that from the accuracy and the convenience, that's our advantages.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Team CEO Voice. Next up, we have Team Tech Rangers, and their theme is on Neighbor. This is a chatbot application to help the elderly become more confident and independent in using digital technology safely. Please join me to welcome Team Tech Rangers.
A very good afternoon to everyone. We are Tech Rangers, and today we are going to introduce a product that will be helpful to the elderly, especially those who are not familiar with digital platforms. As we all know, technology is currently advancing, and yet a majority of elderly living in Singapore are not used to using mobile applications. Now, we find this to be a big issue because by 2030, it is predicted that a quarter of Singapore's population will be aged 65 years and above. What's more interesting is that in 2019, a survey was conducted, and it shows that 58% of residents who are 60 years and above are currently internet users, whereas we hope to encourage the other 42% to do the same. A total of $230 million were lost to scam cases in the first half of this year only. And we hope that if we do encourage the elderly to join the world of technology, we hope that the money lost to online scam cases will not increase. So starting off with a case study, we have Auntie June, who is a 66-year-old woman and currently living alone. Her technology skill is she's not so exposed to technology, so therefore the only thing she knows how to do on her mobile phone is to call and text. What she hopes to achieve is to be able to shop online comfortably, as well as reduce the risk of potential scams. In the following is an unfortunate event that Auntie June had experienced while using mobile apps, where she fell victim to a scam. It all started when Auntie June wanted to buy a gift for her granddaughter. After exploring her options for a while, she decided to try online shopping in an app called Carousel because her physical level does not allow her to be outside of the house for a long period of time. So she's just scrolling through Carousel when she finds what appears to be a good deal, and she decides to get the gift. So she contacted the seller, and the seller sent her a link to proceed with payment. After the payment, Auntie June waits patiently for the gift to arrive, but it took a while, it never arrived, so Auntie June decides to contact the seller, only to realize that the seller didn't reply back, there was no refund available, and she had gotten scammed. So how do we prevent a situation like this happening to Auntie June, as well as to others in particular? Well, in short, we have decided to create a chatbot that will guide the elderly to be more confident in using technology, as well as the elderly to be able to navigate safely through the internet and recognize potential risks.
To protect the elderly from scams found online on mobile applications, we'd like to present to you today our chatbot, Bobby. Bobby is a simple-to-use, intelligent AI chatbot that will help to guide users and protect them when they are using mobile apps. Bobby consists of 3 main features, which are visual guides to guide the user through using the app, a microphone feature to communicate with Bobby verbally, and a detection feature to check for any suspicious activities on your device. When you activate the Bobby app, Bobby will run in the background and will wait for you to select an app that you would like to use. When you have entered that app, Bobby will provide step-by-step instructions on how to use that app. When you're making payments and you need to enter in your sensitive information, such as your credit card number, Bobby will ask you if you would like to switch it off temporarily in case you're worried about Bobby tracking your sensitive information. It does not track any sensitive information, but if that is a concern, Bobby provides this option. Bobby can also identify suspicious links, ads, and messages and can warn you against clicking on them. Bobby includes a chat room feature that allows you to ask it questions on how to use functions in apps. For example, you could ask it, how do you make digital payments on GrabPay? And it will reply to you in both text and speech. In comparison to these products that are readily available in the market, you have concluded that Bobby is superior as it contains all 3 of these features listed here, whereas the other 2 products only contain 1 of these features. By using Bobby, Auntie June will be guided with her online shopping and be protected from scams that try to steal money from her. And our conclusion is that we want the elderly to feel more included and be more confident and independent in using digital technology safely, and Bobby is the tool that we need to help them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Team Tech Rangers. I will invite the rest of the team on stage. Judges, over to you. Yes, Prof. Koo.
Interesting presentation. Just curious to know how Bobby is so smart at detecting scams.
Okay, probably on this slide, I'll explain more. So basically, the AI can be able to train, we can train the AI to learn how to use the app first and also able to detect threat, like maybe they're able to scan and able to see, and the machine learning able to, over time, learn how to be able to learn the app and also identify threats. So this data can be able to store in the Huawei cloud, and by using Bobby, it scans the app and collect data from the Huawei cloud. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Koo. Other judges?
Is your chatbot voice or text?
It can be either voice or text, because as for voice, some of the elderly, they might have difficulty hearing properly. So probably they can also choose the option of choosing the voice.
I think texting could be quite challenging for the elderly too, right?
Yes, so we also try to be able to, they also can be able to change the font size if they want to make it bigger, or they can we can also train the Bobby to able to have different kind of languages, like maybe Mandarin, or maybe also it can be able to have a dialect also.
Thank you for the question, Christina. Gavin, Catherine, any questions from you? Yes, go ahead, Gavin.
How confident are you that your chatbot won't get scammed?
He said, how confident are you that your chatbot won't get scammed?
So probably, okay, so probably by having this Bobby, they also can be able to have maybe cybersecurity to be able to know how they will not be scammed instead. Yeah.
So
yes, Catherine.
Which stage are you in now? I mean, it's under planning, designing, or it's already have the prototype, for this kind of app?
We don't have a prototype now, so we just came up with the idea of the whole process. So in the future that we hope to that we hope that we can come up with the prototype so to help the elderly, so they are benefit to it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have time for one more quick question or comments from the judges. Okay, thank you so much, Tech Rangers, for your great presentation, and keep going and keep building. Thank you, Tech Rangers. We've come to our second last team presentation, and this is Team Isolert with their theme on Neighbor. Isolert is a passive system that provides visibility to an individual's isolation status and acts as a catalyst for social interactions in the community to ultimately bring back the kampong spirit. So join me to welcome Team Isolert.
Two words, living alone. For many of us, a nightmare. But for people like Mr. Lee, a constant, harsh reality. My name is Ryan, and I'm here to tell you that living alone does not mean that you should live alone. Let's zoom out a little. In Singapore, 9% of seniors above 60 live alone. To put that into perspective, in this room, every 10 people, one person will be at risk of living alone. One person will be at risk of an isolated lifestyle. Every single day, alone at home, doing the same thing, day in, day out, every single week. And this causes three problems. The first, social isolation, and the lack of motivation, and a sedentary routine. These aren't just independent problems, but they lead to each other. So think about it. Social isolation leads to a lack of motivation, which leads to a sedentary routine, which leads back to social isolation. Now, this causes a lot of problems. A social isolated lifestyle at home leads to a lot of health complications, from mental to emotional to psychological, and in worst cases, even death comes unnoticed for a couple of weeks. So we asked ourselves, what if we could mobilize the community, mobilize Singaporeans to give support and assistance to these elderly people living alone, to promote healthy aging? After doing our research, we realized that the key to longevity, the key to healthy aging, is just leaving the house. So naturally, the first step is out the door. So ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Isolert, your neighbors, your family. Isolert stands for Isolation Alert, basically a passive system that promotes the visibility of isolation status to improve healthy aging. And it's placed outside a senior citizens who's isolated at home's door. It works in 3 layers of safeguard: individual, neighbor, and community. This is how it works. When a senior shows an isolated activity, Isolert will glow orange. Two things will happen simultaneously. The first is social service will be alerted to the isolated senior citizen. And second is that Isolert will act as a catalyst to prompt neighbors to check up on these seniors. So if they knock on their door, if neighbors knock on the seniors' doors and there's no answer, all the neighbors need to do is just click on the button over here. This will prompt social services to send in professional help to help the seniors who might be in danger or something. In the chance that the seniors answer the door and they're okay, social services will continue to monitor, and Isolert, again, acts as a catalyst for social interactions, building and forging relationships from neighbors to neighbors. We designed Isolert to be simple, unobtrusive, and require no action from these seniors, mitigating the intimidation factor from technology, introducing them to seniors. Everything down from the user interface to the technology. And speaking of technology, we created it to be an invisible ecosystem. It works with an external motion sensor inside the house, tracking the movements of the senior citizens, as well as secure cloud data analytics to be used by social services using artificial intelligence to track and monitor. Now, we understand that there are other products in the market, but they are active systems. And being active means that they have to use these systems, which paved the way for accidental clicks or calls. Isolert was designed to be passive, a passive system that is non-intrusive and a digital monitoring system. In order to build this, we have 2 phases in our roadmap, in our developmental roadmap. The first is development, iteration, and prototyping, and user testing, which is what we're in now. The second phase, it's soft launching as well as raising awareness in the community about our product. We are able to integrate with existing senior assisted projects like the senior assisted HDBs as a go-to-market strategy. And in 12 months, we believe that we are able to scale to 6 senior estates all over Singapore. And if this works in Singapore, we believe that Singapore as a test bed allows us to scale up to China or Japan, places or countries with a growing growing aging population problem. And we have the right team to do so. Everything from design to engineering to urban planning and architecture, we have it all, as well as support. Great support from NUS as well as Sparkle Life Foundation, and maybe even Huawei. So we are bringing back the kampong spirit, a place where, we as Singaporeans are able to go into our neighbor's house and knock on the door, check on each other just because. So with Isolate, living alone does not mean you have to live alone. So join us, and let's bring back that kampong spirit together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will invite the rest of Team Isoler to join your fellow team member on stage. Yes, Gavin, go ahead.
It's a really interesting idea, and I'm here in quarantine, so I'm very interested in isolated solutions. But what do you do about security? Isn't there a massive security issue with this? Aren't you advertising that someone is alone inside this house?
Yes, so in terms of security, this was actually something that we looked at also, and that's why we wanted to work towards more elderly assisted HDBs, and instead of pushing it towards a very open market. So because of this, we do understand that data protection, especially in today's context, is something very crucial. And this is also why we need Huawei's help with this, because cybersecurity, their cloud firewall, I believe, is one of the products that we believe is a good end-to-end encryption. And the data that we are transferring is also data that is not crucial data, and it is unfiltered data. So you can't make sense of it without our algorithm. I hope that answers your question.
I think Gavin has a follow-up comment or question.
Yeah, no, so what I was getting at was, if you're putting a sensor outside the home, then can everyone see that this is a sensor and therefore someone is alone inside? It's less about the data and more about pure security. Anyone walking past knows there's a single lonely person inside there. Isn't that a burglary issue rather than a data issue?
So we understand that this is a huge problem because, it paves the way for a lot of things. Like, we identify that this person is socially isolated from anyone, but we really want to mobilize the community, and this is a risk that we have to take because we don't know yet that if a senior citizen living alone will get robbed or will get mugged during the day or during the night when they're alone and all that kind of stuff. But it's a risk that we have to take, and without risk, we won't have progress. So this is basically what we are trying to stand for. It's just an isolation status. It's a visibility of isolation status that was built to nudge neighbors to look out for each other, and this is what we want to do.
Thank you, Prof. Koo.
It's a very important problem that you are trying to solve. Just that you mentioned that the key to healthy longevity is to leave the house.
Yes.
And I don't quite follow how your solution helps to tackle that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's more of a design factor because seniors who are living alone, they have this mental model that they are in a habitual state at home doing the same things day in, day out. Every single day is the same thing. And humans, they thrive on habitualism, or they thrive on everything being the same or constant. But this creates the problem of them being too comfortable in their own home. And because of their comfortableness in their own homes, they will have a lot of degradation in terms of mental, emotional, psychological states. So what we want to do is, as Isolate tries to nudge them to leave their own homes through mobilizing the community. Remember when we said mobilizing our community, we wanted to use other Singaporeans who are neighbors. So let's say Takif right here is an isolated senior citizen. If Isolated turns orange, as a Singaporean, and I want to look out for my fellow Singaporean, my fellow neighbor, I'll just go up to his house, knock on his door, check up check on how he is. So it's not really like a forceful system, but it's more of a nudge. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Team IsoAlert, and truly bringing back that kampong spirit.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. So we are on to our very last team presentation. And this is Team Sentosa Islanders with their theme on culture. And the team focuses on how to use technology to discover the cultural heritage of shophouses in Singapore. So please share with us more.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I am Xu Duan. I came to Singapore 6 years ago, first time as a visitor. Like many other foreigners, I immediately fell in love with the place, especially with the beautiful, colorful shophouses. I remember the first time I walked by this beautiful building. It was in 2016. I didn't know what it is, so I Googled it. And turns out it's a police station. And my mind was blown away because I've never seen a police station as beautiful as this one. And think about it, it's kind of interesting. Imagine if you are a theft and you were caught by a police officer or something. When you are brought into this building, you will probably think to yourself, your future is not gonna be as bad as you thought, right? So that is why our team is so fascinated by the beauty of Singapore's shophouses. And we want to use AR technology to help people really understand the stories of the Singapore shophouses in order to better appreciate the cultural heritage of Singapore shophouses. So before we get into how do we do it, let's first think about why should we care, right? Why should we care about Singapore shophouses? They're important to Singapore's culture because they have been there for a really long time. They are the places where Singaporeans used to live, to grow their families, and also do their business activities. They have been there for over 100 years, and according to Singapore's Urban Redevelopment Authority, there are only 6,500 preserved shophouses. And despite their uniqueness and importance to Singapore's culture, people seem not interested as much as they should compared to the other cultural symbols of Singapore, for example, Singlish, coffee, and chicken rice. So according to Google Trends, these four terms, this picture shows the popularity of the four terms searched by Singapore residents during the past 12 months. So as you can see here, people really love chicken rice. Who doesn't, right? So, but it's interesting that the popularity of chicken rice is 8 times more than those who are interested in shophouses in terms of searching in Google. And that is interesting, and it's also revealed that people's low interest in shophouses is kind of a problem. It indicates 3 things. First, there's probably lack of a guidance to help people navigate and learn about shophouses in order to help their interests in shophouse to develop from there. And because of lack of guidance, they have no motivation to visit the place. And as a result, people are less likely to appreciate the cultural heritage as much as they should because of a lack of guidance and a lack of motivation. So therefore, we propose to use Huawei's Cyberverse AI technology to curate guided tours to help people to navigate around places. Imagine a place when you can use your phone camera to scan the place and it will automatically show you where the house is, who built it, who designed it, what is the structure, what is the story behind the buildings. And then you can also engage with the place using the features in the system and help you to explore more if you want. And we know that this is not something we can build very easily. So currently we're in the ideation phase, which is why we are here now, and to listen to all of your judges and audience insights on how we should develop from there. And moving on to the collaboration phase, we will seek collaboration from URA and also business owners of shophouses in order to first get the spatial data in order to build the app or build the system. And second, to develop co-marketing campaigns to help us first get users to probably get users from their business environment as well, and also to help us to sustain the users database, because sometimes people come and go, so we want probably integrate the vouchers from the business, and so that the users are more incentivized to really go to the place and use the voucher and in order to sustain them in the system. And then finally, moving on to the implementation stage, we're really get developers to develop the system. And finally, we'll use A/B testing and quantitative surveys to finally determine what are the best features in order to optimize the features and maximize the user engagement. So through this project, we really want to highlight that shop houses are so unique and they represent something that Singaporeans used to live, grow their business, and that is something we should remember and carry on. So we want to bring out the following 3 aspects of social value. First, we want to engage the public so that they can get to the place, and then more Singaporeans and foreigners can understand and appreciate the cultural heritage behind these buildings. And finally, we can drive traffic to the local shophouse business in order to hopefully grow their business as well. So that's my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much at Sentosa Islanders. Do you have a team member joining you on stage?
On stage, it's only myself, but I
Okay.
have my team member. She just earned her doctoral degree in engineering, but unfortunately, she's not able to join me today.
All right, wonderful. So on to the judges. Prof. Koo, I see you nodding quite a lot.
Well, my question is really, is it really about, the lack of interest in shop houses? Is it really about, the lack of the ability to kind of know where they are, etc., or is it something, perhaps a bit deeper than that?
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that question. That's really interesting because we know what motivates people to do something. First, it can be lack of interest, as you mentioned. That could be one factor, but there's also other barriers. For example, lack of motivation or something cannot incentivize them to get there, right? So for example, I am interested in, for example, Marina Bay Sands. I'm very interested in it, but I do not have the motivation to go because I don't have the money or something. So that's something we want to tackle here because if they do not have interest, that's why we want to build the interest from this project. And if they have the interest already, but they don't have the real motivation to visit, right? For example, they just want to learn about it on Google. And that's not something we want. We want people really get there and engage with the place and shop and also really appreciate the environment. So anyway, I really appreciate the question. I think that's a really important aspect as well.
Just to clarify, the colorful building you showed us
was
a police station.
Oh, yeah.
It was when we converted it as a
In-
ministry building that we added colors. I was directly involved in that project.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, because on my way home today, I actually, it's very close, right? Close to SMU. It's already being converted to Ministry of Information and Communication, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah, but it's less interesting than it was because it was a police station. But anyway, I think whoever own this building or do business in this building will get really happy because the positive energy of the shop houses.
No, but I like the idea of an app, which when you come to an interesting building, gives you some history of it.
Sorry, may I?
I like the idea of an
Oh, yeah.
app that
Thank
when
you.
you come across an interesting building,
Yeah.
just by scanning or whatever, you get some history.
Yeah.
I think that will enhance Singapore.
Yeah, that's why history can become tangible, right? It cannot be just something you read through your thick textbook and you got lost. But imagine if you can learn the history in the environment. And like, for example, this was in the 90s or 80s when Singaporeans transformed through these kind of activities or initiatives. That will help people to learn and appreciate it much more, I think.
It's almost like Pokemon Go, but for
Yeah.
cultural heritage.
It
sites.
is. It is a Pokemon Go version for adults.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yeo. And thank you for helping to build such an iconic building as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Other judges. I think we have time. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
Sentosa Islanders. And just like that, we have finished our 9 team presentations. We are going to invite the judges to go off and to do the very tough part of deliberating who will be crowned our top 3 winners. And everyone else, I'll invite you for a nice break. We're going to break for 10 minutes. There is food and refreshments over at this corner. And so I will see you back in 10 minutes. It brings me great pleasure to invite our guest of honor for today, Ms. Lo Yenling, Minister of State, Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth, and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, to be giving us our keynote speech for today. Please join me to welcome MOS Lo.
Can we put our hands together and thank Leanne, because she has spent the past few hours, I came in at 4 o'clock and she has been most encouraging. Can we put our hands together and thank her? Very good afternoon to all of you. I think it has been a really insightful afternoon. Now let me do a shout out of a few names. And when I call out your name, you just rise where you are and give a wave so we can acknowledge you all accordingly. Mr. Zhang Zhenjun, Vice President of Huawei Asia Pacific. 来，跟大家挥个手一下。And Mr. Fu Fangyong, CEO of Huawei International Private Limited. And Managing Director of Huawei International Private Limited, Mr. Chen Hao. And the entire Huawei team, you can see, you know, they really rolled out the very warm hospitality for our students, 9 teams and all the various partners. Our judges, really hardworking judges, I think they have to go to one corner, right? Yeah, to come to an agreement on the results. And a big thank you to the 5 judges. And I've known Mr. George Yeo for a long time. Can we give it up for Mr. George Yeo, our former Foreign Affairs Minister, also Foreign Trade Industry Minister. And Mr. George Yeo, I must tell you, I'm so glad you pointed out that photo, the colourful window. Because today I'm coming on behalf of not just the Ministry of Trade Industry, but also Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth. And my NCCY office is in that building. So I can attest to the fact that it brings positive vibes, yeah? Whenever you're there, very inspired to make the right decision for the country. And of course, can we also give it up for Prof. Koo Teng Chai. I've known him for many years as well. Thank you, Prof. And the 3rd judge, let's put our hands together to thank Mr. Robert Yap. And you know what? Mr. Robert Yap told me, other than coming to encourage our 9 teams of finalists, he is also here to see which one can he invest in. That's what he told me. Oh, now he tell me, shh, cannot say. So before you leave, you know whose name card you must get. And also, let's put our hands together to thank Mr. Edward Tay. And we have Ms. Christina Lee. Yeah, thank you so much for all the questions and also the advice you have given. And I think over Zoom, I saw Catherine and Gavin as well. I don't know, are they still zooming in, but big thank you to all of them. And now I know actually what you want to know is the result. You just bear with me a few more minutes. A very good afternoon to all of you, and thank you so much to Huawei's team for inviting me to the finals. And this is the inaugural Huawei Tech4City competition. So when I got the invitation, Mr. Fu Fanfeng will know, I was very excited. I had to reschedule my commitment to be here. I said, I want to be here for this inaugural competition to support the 9 teams. And I'm very excited to be able to hear the last 5 teams for myself, to hear and see for myself. And the passion is really palpable. The judges told me so as well. And I'm very certain that you have many interesting and bright ideas on how we can continue to harness the digital technology to build more sustainable and more livable Singapore, like what you have said, during your elevator speech. Now, dear friends, I think you agree with me that the world we live in today in year 2022 is increasingly complex. The COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated digitalization. Now, regardless of what age we are, it's, 我们都知道怎么样扫二维码, very easy, right? You can scan QR code to do payment, formerly was safe entry, etc. And the COVID-19 pandemic has also accelerated the rate of disruptions. And of course, unfortunately, from 24th of February this year, we have the Russia-Ukraine war, which has exacerbated a lot of the challenges. But I always know, and I think amongst us, there are some Dunman High people, and I must say this in Mandarin, then I'll translate back to English. 这个危机中总有契机. Yeah, there's always a business opportunity in any crisis. And similarly, it's a question of how do we see it as half cup full? You know, I prefer us to see it as half cup full. And technology is one way for us to really maximize the opportunity. And we will also agree that technology has really changed the way we work, live, and play, especially in the last 2.5 years. In addition to that, you will agree with me that climate change is stressing temperature and resulting in extreme weather in various parts of the world, including Singapore. Today, it's quite warm, right? Yeah, very humid. Yesterday, heavy rain. Yeah, and the knock-on effects of climate change on agriculture, on mass migration are really triggering food insecurity as well as geopolitical conflicts. So I think I'm sketching this. Actually, Mr. Giorgio does a very good job in terms of sketching the macro economic landscape, and I understand earlier on he had a session with you guys. But the point really is our response to all the challenges that we have outlined this afternoon actually would determine the future that we will live in collectively here in Singapore and here in Asia. So technology actually, if harnessed well, can really be a game changer to improve sustainability and create a livable home for all. Prof. Khoo Teng Chai has been the executive director of CLC. It's a topic that's very close to his heart, how to create a livable home here. And as what our Deputy Prime Minister Lawrence Wong pointed out in the Forward Singapore movement, we here in Singapore need to rethink how we use and how we care for our environment. We need to expand our efforts to come up with creative solutions by tackling climate change and creating a better world. So to that end, I really want to, on behalf of Ministry of Trade and Industry, as well as Ministry of Culture Committee and you, I want to commend Huawei's team, Huawei Singapore, for holding the first ever Huawei Tech4City competition, because it raises our youth awareness on how digitalization and sustainability, both themes come hand in hand, can be positive forces in solving today's challenges to bring our world forward. And from what I've seen in the last 1.5 hours, the competition is really an excellent platform for you, our youth, to brainstorm, come together as a team. I saw an NUS team, actually they graduated, but they stayed connected because of the Mango project. Yeah, the Mango team, where are you? Make some noise, don't be so shy. Yeah, right? They came together to brainstorm and develop ideas to tackle salient and urgent issues. And as you were presenting, I tried to distill the 9 themes business proposition into 4 themes. I hope I got it right. The first one is reducing carbon emission. The second one is improving food sustainability. The third one is building our social and cultural capital. That's why we have that photo of that colorful window. And the fourth is creating a resilient and inclusive city. And then I try to organize the 9 teams in these 4 buckets. Let me try, and I hope I got it right. But I know actually some of the teams actually address more than one topic. And the first one I believe is, in terms of reducing carbon footprint, is SBA and also True Fuel. Right? The second one, the second topic of improving food sustainability, I think we have Smart F. The third one, which is on the topic of building our social and cultural capital, I think we have 3 teams. Isolate, I checked it out, over there. And I told them, Isolate, make some noise? Yeah, okay. And they have a prototype, and I told them, if you want to translate it, bring it to market, focus on the rental block for a start. Rental block. And because every rental block, they do have a senior activity center at the void deck. I think then that really maximizes your chance of success. Isolate, Homeground Heroes, and of course, Sentosa Islanders, right? The fourth one, creating a resilient and inclusive city. I believe we have 4 teams. Harmony SG, Mango, I've just seen them. I've also tried, looks like the Michael Jackson glove, See Your Voice. They're too young to know who Michael Jackson is, unfortunately. And of course, the Tech Rangers. Thank you so much, very inspiring. And from their elevator pitch, I realized two things. Number one, innovation and imagination, these two important I, are really key ingredients for improving our city and being more sustainable. And it is not mutually exclusive. I think a lot of us think that improving our city, improving our infrastructure, sometimes come at expense of sustainability. It doesn't have to be so. I think if you take a design thinking approach and you really harness technology, I think we can maximize the synergy between these two objectives. So for instance, in Singapore, and Mr. George Yeo will have many such stories to share from his more than 20 over years of experience in government, but we have successfully reimagined and created community spaces that enhance both our city resilience and livability. Now, I chose this example because I think Prof. Kuting Chai and Mr. George Yeo will remember. And this is a simple example just to tell you that it doesn't have to be, something very challenging. For example, the Bishan Ang Mo Kio Park really is a living example of how a concrete canal was integrated into its surroundings to become a green social space. So some of you may live near Bishan Ang Mo Kio. You may go to the park. It's very beautiful, right? You probably did not know that, back then there was a concrete canal, and it was very deliberate that the urban planners actually worked together with the various authorities, stakeholders, to see how to integrate this concrete canal into surroundings to make it into a nice green and blue lawns. And in fact, in order to do so, do you know that the soil bioengineering techniques were actually used for the first time in Singapore to convert the canal into a river? Now, if you are running right in that park and you are running alongside a canal, you prefer running alongside a canal or a river? I think the answer is obvious. So there are steps that we can take even in our city-state to make this place more livable, at the same time improving sustainability. So because of that ingenuity, today this park acts as a green and blue lung for the residents, not just staying there, but for all Singaporeans who want to venture there, while retaining the park's flood control functions. Right? So it can achieve 2 to 3 objectives if we really take a design thinking and also harness technology. And likewise, our plan to protect close to 300 kilometers of varied coastlines. I say this because this is really a clear and present danger, right? We need to protect our coastline. It will achieve 3 things. Number 1, it will dovetail engineering solutions with, number 2, our community recreational needs, while at the same time, very importantly, preserving our natural landmarks. But all this didn't come about just because every agency just do their own thing. This means that various agencies, including community, we got to work together, involving the stakeholders to minimize environmental impact and protecting existing ecosystem. So I hope by sharing such example, you will continue in this journey, and by using technology, because with the help of technology and a constant spirit of innovation, which you have clearly shown in this competition over the last few months, we can enhance our city and move closer to our sustainable goals at the same time. Now, dear friends, I think you agree with me that sustainability cannot be achieved by the government. We need every one of us, whether we are student or we are working in a company like Huawei, or you're entrepreneur, or we are civil servants in the agencies, or in the community as a volunteer. We need everyone to play our part, right? And therefore, we have always sought to consciously create opportunities for people, for organizations, for voluntary welfare organizations as well, VWO, and the community to come together to tackle this issue. I think many of you would have read that in February last year, the Singapore unveiled the Singapore Green Plan 2030, which spells out our national goals and our quest for a greener and more livable Singapore. And we are also aligning Singapore with the global call for net zero emissions. Mr. George Yeo will know, and Prof. Kuting Chai will know. When the Singapore government make a commitment about net zero emission, we make sure we get there. Not just by that particular year, but actually we make sure that we put in place interim milestones so that we will be able to make good our promise. And more recently, the Singapore government conducted public consultations on how Singapore can work towards becoming a low-carbon country as we consider raising our long-term ambition to achieve net zero by around 2050. We are also deliberating whether to raise our 2030 NDC. What is NDC? It is nationally determined contribution in tandem with this ambition. So stay tuned, we will provide updates on this front. So I really want to call on all of us, all fellow Singaporeans, to support this important effort so that we can leave behind a healthier earth for the next generation and really do our part collectively on this sustainability journey as a nation. I talked briefly about DPM Lawrence Wong's Forward Singapore movement, and in this movement, the government has rallied Singaporeans, including our youth, to shape our shared vision for the future. And at this inflection point of our nation's progress, the desire of our youth, the ambition, the aspirations, and the participation of our youth is very critical because it will influence the direction ahead. Our youth will play a very vital role in charting a sustainable and livable Singapore. And that's why, I felt that no matter how busy I am, I must decomplete to come and support you for this inaugural Tech4City competition and really give you the tangible support. Because our youth are the key drivers of change. We believe that with your passion and dedication, our young people bring dynamism, bring optimism that refreshes and energizes the problem-solving process. Sometimes you need to pick up the stone, look at it, and put it back, And sometimes you do need a different perspective. And so this competition is not only valuable for the innovative solutions that's proposed. I like all the problem statement that every team sketch out because they're very clear what problem they were trying to solve. But also it's an important chance to also understand the perspective, the values, and the desires of our youth as they spoke. And in the last few months, the participants of the Forward Singapore movement have had a chance to attend networking and sharing sessions to hear. And in fact, for this Tech4City competition, I know that Huawei has poured in a lot of resources. The entire team is here, and they have been hand-holding the 141 teams, am I right? Yeah, Mr. Zhang told me a total of 141 teams actually vied for this opportunity to come here and present to our 7 judges. And out of 141 teams, 10 teams made it to today's platform. I know what I'm going to say next is going to sound like a cliche, but by the mere fact you made it here, I think each and every one of you is a winner. So I really don't envy the 7 judges. They have a tough time to determine the winner. And the last few months, I heard from the participants just now, over the last 15 minutes, they told me that they are very grateful to have the chance to receive the mentorship and the guidance from the Huawei team, and also to attend networking and sharing sessions to learn from the industry experts in the area of technology and also sustainability. And they told me that they also have the opportunity to explore how they can use the technology, applications, and the digital skills to enhance their lives and also Singapore. So I hope out of the 9 ideas you heard today, don't stop here, right? And wearing the MTI hat, Mr. George, you will know, we have this Enterprise Singapore. And under Enterprise Singapore, we have Startup SGs, we have various initiatives. I will not do the marketing here because it will take another 10 minutes. I intend to hand the time back to them to announce the result. But suffice to say, if you're interested, please check out Startup SG. There are a slew of programs, Startup SG founders, seed funding, financing, mentorship, etc. If you are keen, there are platforms to help you take your idea to market, take your idea from an ideation stage to prototype, to testing, to funding, whether you want to get business angel funding or what I call the 3F. The first 50K will come from your 3F. Fans, friends, and sometimes politely we say family, but the real word is the first group that give you your first 50K is fans, friends, and fools. Yeah, generally. Of course, then you aspire towards getting Series A, Series B, Series C, mezzanine financing, etc. Right? So I hope you will continue this journey, and all of us really can play our part and contribute to building a more sustainable Singapore. Now, in 3 days' time, we will start to hear, the F1 Grand Prix. So on my way here, I thought I will use road and car to just distill 2 sentences to express how inspired I have. I'm very inspired by the 9 teams of elevator pitch. To me, I feel that after hearing what you have said, I have full confidence that in you, our youth, you can take on the driver's seat of imagination and innovation to fast-track us on the road to sustainability with your ideas and your innovation. But remember, awareness and action that starts with our youth now will go a long way to building the future for our city-state, for our beloved Singapore, for many decades to come. And in closing, I really want to thank Mr. Zhang and his team from Huawei Singapore for bringing forth this exciting inaugural competition. And I am confident that Tech4City competition has in the last few months inspired and shaped innovative thinking in all our youths as they spend time tackling a diversity of social and environmental challenges. Now turning to our 9 teams, I trust that this is the beginning of your journey because all of you spoke with a sparkle in your eyes and the passion is so palpable. I hope you continue to use your skills that you have picked up these few months, your innovation and creativity. Continue whether you want to embark on entrepreneurship journey or work for a big organization or join the government or in whatever capacity, continue to use those skills, innovation and creativity to address societal issues and perhaps even regional and global issues. And I encourage you to continue to step up, taking actions to build a more sustainable and livable Singapore. Now, may your learnings from Huawei's Tech4City competition spur each and every youth to be a dynamic change maker, to be a thought leader, so that in time to come, you will be like our speakers earlier, take to the stage and advise the next generation of youth, and also continue to be an innovator. On this note, I want to wish you a bright and sustainable future and all the best to the 9 teams. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, MOS Low. I'm going to ask you to stay on stage so that you can join me in the award presentation. I think there were so many things about MOS Low's speech that really resonated with me. And one of the things is we all have a part to play. And truly, all of us do. Every single one of you, no matter what age you are, you all have a part to play in creating a more livable and sustainable future for Singapore. Okay, so now is where everybody is so excited. I have a little piece of my paper that the judges have deliberated on. I am going to announce the 7 teams that awarded the commendation prize, and they will receive a certificate and also a $1,000 award. So the first team that has received the commendation award is SBay. The second team with the commendation prize is Truefield. The third team is Team Smart F. fourth team with the commendation prize is Tech Rangers. Our next team with the commendation prize is Team Isolert. And our last team with the commendation prize is Team Sentosa Islanders. So we've made it to our top 3. All right, are you nervous? I'm feeling a little bit nervous as well for the teams. Okay, so in third place, and if you could join me for a bit of a drum roll. In third place, we have Team Homeground Heroes. They are walking away with $3,000. In second place. Second place winner is Team Mango. They are walking away with $5,000. Let's give a round of applause for Team Mango. That means our last team in first place, we have Team See Your Voice. Where's your glove? They walk away with a grand prize of $10,000. Once again, Team See Your Voice. Can I quickly invite Mr. Fu Fang-yong to be on stage with us and the second and third prize winners also. Okay, congratulations, our top 3 teams. I am going to invite the rest of the teams. Wait, stay on stage, please. Stay. I'm going to invite the rest of our teams as well to join us to take a big group photo. So speakers, judges, MLOS, please stay on stage. Okay, so let's try. I think we need to, it's a lot of people, so we need to do a little bit of juggling, okay? So I think some people need to squat, right? And we need to do a few things, right? For the teams, I think some teams need to squat, some sit on the stage. Great. Okay, first and second sit. And then for the other teams, it's okay to sit on, if you don't mind, sitting on the floor, because it's a lot of people to fit into one, and we can't have too many people on the stage. We want to just make sure that the stage can fit everybody. All right, we can have a little bit more people right in front to either sitting, yeah, one knee, okay. All right. Okay. Great. Shall we have, where's my first place winner? All right. Okay. So, and then one more row here. Just standing, yep. You can just stand behind them, I think. All right, squeeze a little bit. Ideally, if the checks don't block anybody, that would be great. Okay. You want to okay, Mr. Chu, take a photo as well. Okay. All right. Everyone say Tech4City. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Tech. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Woo! One more time. Say 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you so much. Everybody, let's quickly take a seat, and if I ask Mr. Fu to just remain with me on stage. We are towards the end of this wonderful event presented by Huawei. To just end us off, it brings me great pleasure to now announce who is running away. Okay. No worries. Okay, it brings me great pleasure to invite Mr. Fu Fangyong to be able to close us off with a couple of words. Mr. Fu?
Right. Yeah, I think I have a very enviable, job, to deliver closing remark, riding on all the excitement, because I know that no one will be paying attention, too much to my speech, yeah. So it makes my job a lot easier. So, but then as a formality, good afternoon, a very good afternoon, Ms. Low Yan Ling, Minister of State, Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth, and Ministry of Trade and Industry. And also for Ms. Tin Pei Ling, who are actually with us, this afternoon, CEO of Business China and member of the Singapore Parliament, distinguished guests, friends, and honorable judges, and Huawei Tech4City competition finalists and friends. And congratulations, first of all, to the grand prize winner, See Your Voice, for your creative way of solving the neighbor issue. I hope with the prize money, you will work hard to develop the idea further and bring about real impact to the society. To all the other finalist teams, I was really impressed with the innovativeness and maturity of your ideas. We hope that you have gained much valuable experience throughout the competition. As the saying goes, logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Remember, this competition is not the end point, and you are only limited by your own imagination. If you wish to continue and make your idea come to life, you can approach your Huawei mentors, and they could advise you on the technical aspects to improve. If you are developing an app, our Huawei engineers can help you to develop, debug, and even test your mobile apps with the Huawei mobile ecosystem. Huawei Singapore has launched our talent development programs that provide on-the-job training, industry attachments, and specialized courses, so that fresh graduates as well as mid-career talents are given opportunities to be part of our evolving digital society. I would like to extend an invite to our Tech4City finalist teams to join our Huawei family to further your ICT career. Next, I would also like to extend my deepest appreciation to our Tech4City Advisory Council, mentors and speakers, judges who have spent so much time and effort to guide these youths and nurture their ideas from budding seedlings to a flower in full blossom. As Ms. Low Yan Ling has shared, sustainability is a complex problem, and it cannot be addressed by the government alone. It requires the collective, cooperative effort of everyone, individuals, businesses, and communities. Huawei has entered the Singapore market since 2001, and we have been committed to empowering digital transformation and innovation, nurturing a future-ready talent pool, and driving sustainable growth with local partners. We see this as our responsibility, not just as a global ICT leader, but also as a member of this community that is looking to create economic opportunities and positive social impacts to Singapore society as a corporate citizen. The Tech4City initiative was birthed with this in mind. It is Huawei Singapore-oriented long-term digital inclusion initiative that uses technologies, applications, and skills to empower local people and organizations. Together with industry partners, institutes of higher learning, non-governmental organizations, and government agencies, we hope to deepen our contribution in local initiatives such as the Singapore Green Plan 2030 to create meaningful social impact, giving back to Singapore. In 2022, we partner groups of East Coast volunteers on several campaigns to give back to the East Coast community. As Huawei Singapore is based in Changi Business Park over at the East part, we reach more than 650 individuals through our CSR projects using digital technology to preserve and promote local hawker culture, the kampong spirit, and arranging food delivery for seniors, healthcare workers, and lower income families. There's no ready blueprint for the Singapore of tomorrow. We are happy to continue the momentum and spark more collaborations with our various partners to build a vibrant Tech4City Singapore ecosystem together. And for all the winning teams, I wish you all the best with the prize money. And for those who haven't actually won, a prize money today, I look forward to continue this competition next year and see you back over in this competition. Thank you and have a pleasant evening ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fu. And just like that, we have come to the end of the Tech4City competition finals. It is such a pleasure. Before we leave, I want to give a big round of applause to the Huawei team. It has been so many months of really hard work to be able to do this. So please, everybody join me in the round of applause to Huawei. Also, thank you so much to our partners, Business China, NTU, NUS Business School, NUS Enterprise, SMU, and SUTD for your support. Again, my name is Leanne Roberts, and it has been a pleasure spending this afternoon with all of you. I wish all of you a really great evening and a week ahead. Bye, good evening.